will come with the additional staff members in the near months to 3 months. Thank you.
Yeah, and the reason why, Mr. Cabrera and Mr. Sanchez, I know all of you are overloaded.
Yes.
You know, I don't care how smart you are. If you're overwhelmed with responsibility, then definitely you will experience deficiency in services, correct? So the delay of hiring more staff, does it require your office to have authorized by law or by law to have additional FTE, or your office can proceed hiring without the required legislative authorization for additional FTE? Council, if you may step in for this and provide the question with answer whether OGM requires legislation to require additional FTE. Huh? No, but from the legal side, then.
Under federal.
Okay, so AP under federal, no grant, are you, do your office require, or does your office require authorization to increase FTE?
On a more technical matter, I believe that as the indirect cost comes into the CNMI government, finance treats it as local money, which I feel technically it should, FTE should be awarded or assigned to the office.
So you mean you need the legislation
Yes.
to ensure that your office have additional personnel?
On the island of Guam, the way the law is structured for the OGM there, it lays it out specifically that that money for indirect costs will be assigned certain positions, and that's the way it's being carried out in Guam.
So even if your office wanted to hire 20 people or 15 people tomorrow, it prevents you from doing so, right?
We also lack the additional funding that we need in order to address those shortages in personnel.
Yeah, but what I'm saying here is we provide sub-grants to other agencies, right? But we can bring in more funding, and more money to the office to take care of the sub-grants on a later date, provided that you have the necessary manpower to ensure and navigate the agency in receiving also what your office supposedly to receive from the general grant, and taking your percentage so that the sub-grant can benefit on the operation and of your office and the sub-grantors or grantees, right?
Yes. We will make a conscious effort from here on, to allocate more money to our office, to hire more individuals to help assist us with our duties and responsibilities. Thank you.
I think the way I see it from your response, like that your office requires additional personnel to ensure the deliverables and ensure that we get these grants into the CNMI so that your office can get a hand on the 40%, right?
Yes.
So, and that 40% will then be distributed, maybe half of that to be placed under the section for sub-grant for other department and agency requiring assistance from that.
The law has it at 20%, sir, for the
Yeah.
sub-grant.
Yeah, I know, but 20% is going to your office, correct? Out of the 40?
The 20% is for the sub-grant, the remaining 80% is for the operations of the office.
Okay, so see, then you can have more money now for your operation.
Yes.
So if we stay the way we are today in your office, don't you feel that you're putting a more burden to your staff by overloading, and you yourself are overloaded that, you cannot really, you cannot really focus on which is which first because everybody is loaded with a lot of things in their hands. And maybe that's why it's costing, some issues of concern from department, and most particularly from the inquiry that the Senate President have been asking, because the lack of manpower to provide those. I know there's other concern here, Mr. Carrera, but for now, I'd like to my other members to provide also the opportunity for them to make an inquiry toward the office operation. Thank you. Mr. President, you back.
Just must see us in Tohoku. Before I recognize the other members, Mr. Cabrera, this structure of the law, you actually have a lot of, we use commonly here, laissez-faire. So you have a lot of authority to improve. I'm just basing myself on the answers you provided the members when they pose their questions. And, by law, by Planning and Budgeting Act, also, we want to make sure that although this is an indirect cost, the derivative of such grants that you helped formulate, and by 1940 authorizes you to be self-sustaining. Although it's not in the law, but in the other sections, you need to advise the legislature if you need to incur more FTEs and fiscal impact accompanying that, because the information is very crucial, so that we can also perhaps allow other departments to work with, have a seamless communication or SOP for that matter, so that all these questions before you and before others we can narrow that gap per se. So I just wanted to point that out, that even in your fiscal status, it's very special funds because there's no fiscal year limitation. You can carry over to the following year, and that's huge. Given the situation with what we're supposed to be doing come September 30. Of every fiscal year. That's the drop dead date for general fund. But I'm not going to get any further. I'll go ahead and recognize right now Senator Francisco Cruz. Chair, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, Administrator Cabrera. I want you to understand that you're not here because we want to micromanage your office, but rather to address concerns from agencies and municipality. And I know you mentioned about 600 units that you are assisting. In your testimony this morning, you said that 600, is that correct?
Business units?
Yes, you mentioned about over 600.
We are overseeing 859 business units.
How many?
859.
Oh, 859. 8? Okay, all those units that you're assisting, it's coming from sub-grant or coming from their department requesting or to avail to grants that are eligible for their department. Are you getting what I'm trying to?
Sir, I believe that the business units are derived from the Division of Finance and Accounting that outlays the budgetary the budget for each of the grant.
Okay, so let me rephrase my question. You mentioned earlier you have only nine
Yes.
employees, and I know that the member have stated that there's money in your office, and you mentioned that you prioritize assisting program, and I understand that. And I understand also that the more you infuse with employees to work on more grants, we will get more money. That's correct, right?
Yes, sir.
So it makes sense that if the more you hire, the more we get if they work harder and push forward for available grants that we are eligible here in the Commonwealth, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, now, when you came here back then to support this legislation, because 1648, not enough uh, to 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 make it more efficient and effective, that office to avail to, you mentioned like possibly like 40 to 100 million dollars that we can get. That's what you said, isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you lobbied so hard to support this House Bill 1990, House Draft 1, and now became Public Law 1949. That's correct.
Yes, sir.
And I supported this for the reason that I know that when I was in the Department of Public Safety, in the other opinion, I understand that some of the grant that is that some department are eligible for that grant they failed to avail to that, and that's the purpose of this creating this office, is to make sure that all grants, all department that are eligible for that grant should be applied so that we can take advantage of those opportunities. That's the purpose, correct?
Yes, sir.
And your office is to assist grant writers on different departments so that they can avail to that opportunity, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now in the law it says that you have to develop a program to train grant writers in different agencies or departments. Have you been doing those? The reason why I said this, because if you develop those plans and train, those 9 individuals in your office will be a lot easier when it comes to grant writing, and you won't be worrying about understaff. Otherwise, what the department are doing are different with your side. But to my understanding, the reason why this 1949 was created, because they insert a different and more control responsibility by your office, that they cannot go straight to grantors for any application. It has to go through you to clear from your office, stamp from your office, concur from your office before even this grant application goes to the grantor. They don't go to the grantor as what was done in the past. That's correct?
For the most part, yes, sir.
So now the problem here is some grant writers are complaining of whether or not grants are being approved. Some of them are waiting for grant for your office to inform them whether they're approved or not, and since it's taking so long, I want to understand, how do you process those when grant writers submit it to your office? Do you proceed it expeditiously so that they can avail to the grant, or some kind of a different protocol and process that it's making it it's not an easy process, or is it a lot lighter when agencies have already done the grant writing for that matter?
Okay, I would like to answer the first part of your question regarding the building capacity. Currently, we're pegged to put out an RFP for some time to do. We're bidding out for technical assistance to provide training to a lot of these the stakeholders involved with the grants. We are soliciting help from the mainland for grant management services and trainings in regards to the two CFRs, the single audit, and all that has to do with grants. That's coming up in October. and that money was made available by the Super Typhoon $2 million federal streamlining of accounting for grants. Your second part of the question is about why don't certain agencies receive notices. I'm going to admit that there is a communication breakdown. However, sometimes the grantor specifically sends out those letters. It doesn't go straight to us. Sometimes it goes to them directly. For the most part, we only get approval letters. We don't get denial letters. And the approval is great, but people want to know why they got disapproved. And sometimes it just goes straight to them, or we get nothing at all. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that sometimes the grantor doesn't even tell us why we got rejected. But it's the process. Some granting federal agencies are good. Some are still learning or trying their best to really lay it down. And I would try my best. The office would try its best in the near future to provide a letter to advise them if the grant is not approved.
So, I'm sorry,
Yes.
I'm just trying to understand. Isn't it that all grant goes to you first before they even send out to the grantor to see whether it's approved or not?
Currently, the way the structure is, not all grants go to us. Not all.
I know.
Okay.
I'm basing myself on what is stated on the law. Some are excluded in here, but I'm talking about others that it has to go to the clearinghouse. What is the clearinghouse supposed to mean?
Oh, Jay would like to chime in on that.
So the clearinghouse, the duties of the clearinghouse, as per Executive Order 12372, the job is so that the state can review project proposals, grant proposals, and ensure that they are in line with laws, policies, and plans of the state.
Okay.
So do all grant applications receive a clearinghouse, an executive order review? No, because not all grants require it. Some of the agencies that how do I say this, pursue a clearance on an annual basis include DLNR, Fish and Wildlife Program, NMC CREASE, like the EDA, the Economic Development Administration grants. Those are some of the programs, like grants that come out of USDA, the Department of Agriculture, Department of Commerce, some from Department of Transportation, some from the Department of Justice. Now, some of these grants require an executive order review, some do not. So if they require them, they seek the clearance from the office, and that's when we provide the clearance. Now, it's on a, I guess, as requested basis. Yeah, and most of these are the competitive grants. And if your grant does require an EO clearance, then your grantor will tell you upon submission, where is your EO, where is your clearance? And then we take the grant back, we review it, and we provide that clearance.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm referring to what is included and what is not known. What is included in this law, all those departments that are writing grant. That's what I'm talking about. That it has to go through your office. They cannot go straight. For example, in municipality of Tinian, when they write grant, they have to go straight to your office. They cannot go straight. They're not allowed by OA. They have to go straight to your office. That's why I'm raising this up, because there's some delays on your grant, but because it had, and isn't it? I'm receiving information that some of the grant that are coming from team that have been denied, and what is the reason for the denial?
As mentioned in the past, we only received the award letters, and then by default, because we didn't get award, if you got an award letter, that means the other projects
No,
didn't get
no, the
awarded.
question is,
But I,
have you informed them
Yes.
of the denial?
yes,
Because we'll be calling in those individuals that wrote the grant, and I want you to be transparent, and I want you to be
I'm,
honest with what you're saying. You're being under oath.
yes, sir, and I'm trying to make it clear that we only receive, for the most part, the approval letter, the award letter. So when you get the award letter, we contact the respective agencies, let them know, hey, you got awarded, good job. Now we have to do our job to get the business unit established so you can spend the money.
I'm not talking about award. Thank you for those that have been approved. I'm talking about the denial. Have you received any from the Island of Tinian request to receive from the grantor of any denial of grant application from the Island of Tinian?
So like I said, I only received the award letters.
So you don't receive any?
The denial letters, no.
Okay. Is that your last statement that you never received? Are you sure of that? Just to make sure, because when we call in, I don't want to hear that the municipality have said that no, those are grant writers that no, you never informed them. Because what I'm hearing, if it's denied, you don't have to tell them because denied. So my point here is, how would that agency understand why they are being denied? If it's a long due process, so we can correct those new due process. That's my point. Is there any incident in the past with what I just said?
If I may, Senator, as mentioned by Administrator Cabrera, when an award is awarded, when it's granted, when an award is granted, we receive an award letter. We don't receive denial letters. Now, if that has been the practice in the past, then I guess it has changed somehow, because I have not received. I've never seen a denial letter. Now, a denial letter to say why it was denied, I've never seen such, sir. So for the example with the municipality of Tinian, I think it was last year, they submitted 3 proposals for the OIA TAP and MAP programs, just an example. I think it was the Children's Park grant proposal that was awarded. Now, that award letter was received. That information was dispersed over, was shared with the municipality of Tinian. Now, if you submitted 3 and you hear of 1 being awarded, then I would like to think that it's an indication that the other 2 were not. Now, those 2, what we've done with those 2 awards, the 2 awards that were not granted along with that were submitted, but were not granted, along with the Children's Park, those were, how do I say this, recycled, and were resubmitted, in fact, this year, again, to OIA.
That's what I'm trying to find out. That's the okay. Now, those that are not awarded, did you inform the municipality that they're not awarded, or you don't have to inform them that if they are not awarded, you don't have to let them know that they're not awarded?
At least on the backhoe proposal, sir. Yes, Tinian was awarded, Mr. Ike Kiyoshi, because it was Ike and I who were working on the proposal.
What I'm saying now, sir, the one you mentioned that they're not awarded, did you inform the municipality that they're not awarded, or you don't have to tell them because they're not awarded? Do you have to tell them and notify them that they're not awarded, or you don't have to if you're not awarded?
Sure, we should inform them.
But you did not.
In a way, sir, because one was not award. We only informed them of the award, so we also tell them sorry, but the other one didn't get awarded.
I'm just trying to understand the due process there,
Okay.
because how would that municipality understand that they have to
Reapply.
reapply or resubmit if they don't have any knowledge that that particular
Correct.
request is not awarded? I'm just trying to correct
Okay.
whatever errors. We're
Thank
just
you.
trying to resolve here. We're not trying to, to do something else,
Okay.
but rather to correct whatever the error is. We have to correct the errors, because, like I said, I supported this bill
Yes, sir.
because I want this office to take all the opportunities, that the municipality federal grant, and that's the reason why I supported it.
Thank you.
And let's avoid something that will make agencies or municipality feel that they're not treated equally and fairly. We're here to work together, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So that's the point. Let's try and correct the problem. And if that's just an error, let's correct it. And I believe that, if somebody asks and you don't return the response, the person will not know what's the answer, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
That's why it is important that let's work together. We're here to work together. We're not here to create animosity or differences between us here as a representative and as Office of the Land Management. We're not here to create any animosity. We're here to find ways how to improve and make it better on service to our agencies and the entire cinema that are eligible to avail to this program. That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to create any animosity between your office and myself, my office, but rather to address concern that have been brought up, and maybe perhaps we can correct it from there. But if we ignore, I know it's gonna be worse. It's gonna create more bad, relationship. We wanna have a good working relationship, because after all, this is for the interest of the Commonwealth, to deliver the best services to our people. That's why, we never call you in this kind of arrangement. And this is for the past, since the inception of this law in 2016. That's why we brought this, because we want to address all the concern, the complaint. And I know that you agree to this. Otherwise, if we don't resolve issues here, it's going to get worse. And the people will start complaining that we're not doing their best to make things better. Mr. President, I'm going to yield for now, and we'll come back to the different question. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Cruz. Being requested by some of the members for a second round, but I also request, can the chair place this question, so I may ask the members to allow me just a few minutes. I know the time is advancing. If we're going to follow the agenda, then we're almost there. But again, thank you, Mr. Cabrera and Mr. Sanchez and Mr. Angel for your presence today. I'm going to read it verbatim, and the chair also appreciates your answers, because that's the only way for us to get a grip on understanding as to the challenges before you, and that's all we wanted to know. It's in any statute that was created, especially something of this magnitude, we expect some kinks along the way. That it needs. The only thing we need is some guidance from your office. So, in this platform, subsection 2892 of the public law. it mandates you, and if I understand it correctly, you mentioned earlier that from A to, can you restate that? A to O is cumbersome, and can you just allow some of the, allow the members as to which particular section here have you executed, and which that are in need of potential amendments so that the cumbersomeness of the law can be addressed? And if you're unsure to answer now, you can answer at a later time during the course of the hearing. Because, go ahead.
We did prepare a breakdown of all the subsections and how we're accomplishing.
Do you have that copy with you?
Yes.
Is that something that you can share with the committee? Yes.
Yes.
Because that would help us, seriously.
Yes, but
But if you wanna clean it up and.
Yes, can I have more time to clean it up?
Absolutely. How much time do you need?
I'm also trying to put down the deficiencies and how we can improve those deficiencies.
Okay, so how much time do you need? Tomorrow, 2 weeks from now?
By the end of the week. Sir.
Okay. Thank you. So I was expecting that. Huh? Please have a seat in my office.
Yes.
Okay. With respect to subsection, hang on a second. Okay, on item K, under subsection, same section, can you allow us, can you articulate more on, I know that there's an understanding with the granting agency, or in this case OIA, that the indirect cost, right? And it fluctuates year, or is there a difference between any particular grants in terms of the percentage? I do know that with IDC, there's difference in percentage between utilities and without utilities. Now, underneath that, can you enlighten us in which of that is, how much a percentage underneath the percentage of what you're getting under the law goes for to the agency that win the award, in terms of, like, say for example, my agency, agency 1. You cleared it, you got indirect cost, you got your share, the 40% or however the statute is. So how does that translate to the operations of the agency that won the award? You understand the question?
Yes. Okay, for the most part, there are 2 rates, you're right, the high rate and the low rate, one with utilities and one without utilities. First of all, the state should know that OGM prepares the IDC proposal for submission to the Interior Business Center between May and June of every year. There's over 300 financial reports that are generated, reviewed, and evaluated to derive that rate. The rate is negotiated between the state and the IBC in Sacramento, in California.
Is that your point of contact? Is that regional? I think because it's Region 9? Or?
Yes, Region 9. That's where we go for the rate.
So how's that coming along since the last 5 years, as far as?
We have the rate.
I understand, but how's the communication between to and from?
It's an annual thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so we do get the rate, and we need to submit the new proposal again for FY 2022.
Okay, so
for the breakdown, in terms of the breakdown, your question, if I understand it correctly, is how are the percentages breaking down? Well, for the most part, for example, most of the grants are charged 9.23%, the current rate, the low rate, right? 9.23%. You don't apply that amount to every grant straightforward. Finance and accounting only applies that 9.23% when you spend the grant, when you obligate, when it's actual, the money is spent. So for example, if the grant is $100, right? $100 and all the charges are allowable, the total amount of indirect cost that can be collected is only $9.23. And out of the $9.23, by law, For example, 40% will go to the OGM. So that's about $3.60. The remaining 60% is vested with finance and accounting, not OGM. So 40, 60, or right now the current rate is 35 because it's provided in the law that it decreases by 1% every year. So right now the current allocation to OGM is 35%. And then your question is, how much of that goes to the agency, right?
Yes.
So if all the charges are allowable, then the remaining of the total grant, 100% minus 9.23%, remains at the local agency.
So in the local agency, with the remainder of that, after
They take everything.
they take everything, so can you share what kind of restriction, if there is, with regards to, can that agency use that to supplant some of the shortfall of the general fund, or is that something that is fair to say before this meeting?
Every grant has an intended purpose. So
Right.
whatever that agency applies for, that's the intent. But indirect cost is allowable by 2 CFR 200.414, letter F.
Wow, that's pretty
Yeah.
impressive that you actually got that down pat, but thank you for informing us. Okay, so I wanted to go back a little bit more to the need for FTEs, no?
Yes, sir.
You know, in the statute, and I'll read it in verbatim, page 7 of the law, 1949. The administrator of OGM, CNMI OGM SC shall have the expenditure authority for all funds relating to CNMI OGM SC. And the office shall be comprised of, but not limited to, the following: branch management director, administrator, which is yourself, state clearinghouse director, assistant administrator. Did you have that, Mr. Sanchez? Okay. Branch managers. Do we have that? Managers. How many? How's that?
Only grant specialists.
So, yeah, you got grant specialists and then grant writers.
Yes.
And then compliance officers and administrative assistant officers, specialists. Do you have that? Administrative assistant?
Yes.
How many in your office? One?
We just lost one. She moved to the States.
Okay, so about in the respective senatorial district, what are their positions? For example, Rhoda, how many you have there? Quantitia, what is your position?
We had a grant specialist from Rhoda, but we relocated her to Saipan to
Okay.
assist with the rental assistance program.
Okay, so,
Continue, and we have Miss Dorothy San Nicolas to
Okay.
assist.
so do we need to replace the specialist on Rhoda?
Yes, we need to increase our efforts and our communication with the respective islands. We will, with your blessing, maybe we can receive more FTEs to allow for this to happen.
Okay, Mr. Brett, you need authorization from the legislature to inflate your FTEs. Whether or not you're getting direct appropriation from us, from the legislature, from the general fund, at least for informational purposes, we need to know that because of your challenges, as what was articulated by the director, Mr. Sanchez, necesita más, ne? Naging 20 necesita, ng bulan sa lopi, mahalong, pues, when request 25 or 20, that masok backwards like that. Because that's the only way for us to flush this out. We don't want to be micromanaging, as what was mentioned earlier, but if we don't know, how can we help you?
Sure.
So I think you should be cranking out right now somebody to work. You have 4 people up here that can probably sponsor that, and some out there that are sitting in the gallery that can probably support your request. Cranking it out and start going and at the rate that you said earlier. No, I fully understand that you're pushed to the side, and I think that's the reason why that you have difficulty in responding to some of the requests, no?
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be responding to them. You should respond to them because that's all they need is a flow of communication. Same thing as us or anybody here. You require something from us and they don't respond to you, it doesn't feel good, right?
Sure.
So Yeah, I could overemphasize the need line on Mr. Cabrera to be, and I'm sorry that to say this, but I think you need more administrative help there. No disrespect to how you manage it, but maybe that individual can be the POC for whether or not your grant is approved or not, but at least communicate. So the next question is they can ask your office, often why am I not approved? Maybe we can work something out. So you took this job and you have a multitude of opportunities, responsibilities, and that's why a lot of people look at you for your guidance. Now, on the statute itself, and I'll yield here after this. I just wanted to read it out for the record that on the 820 again, 2392, I believe, 2892. It says, and I quote, with the exception of CNMI PSS, the NMC, CHCC, Northern Maritime Housing Corporation, CUC, Office of AG, Office of Public Auditor, CPA, those agencies you don't clear, right? Do you recommend anybody else to exempt from your clearing so that we can spare you from all the, and again, if just those agencies that I read out, they're self-generating, some of them are.
Autonomous agencies.
Yeah. So is there any other suggestion that you would like for us, for the legislature to consider amending the statute so that we can improve the law?
For the time being, I think,
More time?
yes, more time is needed.
Okay. All right, so, on item M, assist agencies with suspended or terminated grant awards through direct communication and involvement of federal grantors. Can you make me understand what does that mean? Sorry, can you?
Sometimes there is a break in communication with certain grants, and the grantor will reach out to us, our office, to try and get to the local agencies. And then if there are times in the past that it does happen that our local agencies expertise to get out of the suspension. So we undertake the assistance to do the extra paperwork to get them out of the suspension or to prevent the termination of a grant.
So is that something that is?
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. I understand. Is that something that kind of pushes you back from complying with other sections of the law? I understand those, and again, if you're not. The reason why it's a leading question, Mr. Cabrera, because now the budget season is coming up. It's gonna allow the committee members and the members of the legislature to see the pitfalls of how we can improve this thing, because we really don't want to lose the grants. That's your statement during your testimony on Tinian. Is that you're going to address that. Yeah. And I remember that. As a matter of fact, I have it on quote. I have it on speed dial. And I wanna remind you that. So again, sticking to the protocols and structure of this, I have a couple more questions, but I'm going to yield to the members before we take a break. No, it's 11:30, and I'm not sure if you're, but I didn't prepare lunch for me to be responsible for 20 people. So I'm going to yield to the other members, Senator. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I guess, again, Mr. Cabrera, maybe take some time also again to review the needed FTE if your office can accommodate additional employees through sub-grant. And if not, how can we help you meet the challenge for the additional FTE while making or securing more federal grants to finance the new employees that will be working in your office on the days ahead and relieve the general fund from paying them again. So look into that one.
Yes, sir.
And if I,
All federal grants require the executive order clearance.
okay, so the law really is very clear, 1949, so Mr. Sanchez and Administrator. Let me just say whether this law have any direct conflict with the executive order that you're mentioning. And the public law 19-49 specifically, the purpose of this act is to seize all federal grants, okay? All federal grants, funding opportunities that we can take advantage to the Commonwealth eligibility, no? And further, the public law so stipulated that notwithstanding any other provision, law to the contrary, the CNMI OGM shall have exclusive purview at the CNMI level over all federal program, grants, loan, contract, contribution, appropriation, allotment, and so forth. So I just want to make that clarity that the office has the responsibility of all, notwithstanding any provision of law to the contrary. Your office still mandate to oversee all this federal grant. So I just want to make sure that we understand that section of the law. Otherwise, again, I don't know, Mr. Cabrera, if your office have already promulgated any rules or regulation that will govern the execution of all grants, most particularly to the sub-grantors or grantees.
For sub-grant, sir, it was mentioned earlier that we have a standard operating procedures, and under section 5.9, we have a sub-granting section to address that.
But do we have anything in your office that have prepared guidance as to if it's not a procedural or to promulgate rules and regulations, but do we have procedures to undertaking the distribution of all this?
Yes, sir. For sub-grants, there are terms and conditions tied into the orders. Yes, there are.
Okay, I just want to make that, I just want to make sure that we do have some guidance, okay? If there is no rules, if there's no promulgation of any rules, but at least we have guidance or procedure to carry forward this undertaking, right? Okay, Mr. President, are you back again? And maybe we should continue this and later and or we review some of that concern again.
Thank you, Chairman. Before we, Senator? Short recess.
specialist for the Office of Grants Management. For those particular projects that has been awarded for Tinian, yes, those projects we're in the process, we're moving forward, and I've been in communication with our grant or the Tinian grants team with Ms. Reina Singh and Ms. Dorothy St. Nicholas Aikyoshi, and we've been trying to work collaboratively and closely regarding how we're gonna go about with these grants. We do have two grants that I know that have been awarded. One for the solar pathway solar lights, which Mr. Aikyoshi and Ms. Reina worked hard on. For that project, it is a solar project that requires clearances from our federal counterparts. It requires Section 106 clearance, NEPA, and the local permitting um, process. So we did everything. We went through the process. We went out to Tinian. We did the pre-bidding. We announced the project. We had the project announced. We uh, got to the point where we cleared with the local permitting, and now we are at um, the federal clearance now. Uh, we're trying to secure the Section 106 and the NEPA, and from then on, we can move forward with the project. I just like to mention for the solar project, what took place was that, with the pandemic, the COVID really actually delayed the project because I just want to state for the record that there are many other projects that we handle, and we pretty much multitask other awarded projects from other islands. So I could be doing one project one day and then moving on to another due to whatever issues. However, that doesn't mean that this project is not moving forward. I've been communicating with Ms. Dorothy and Ms. Reina as to the status of the project. So currently, right now, we're at the point where we're trying to secure the federal project for the Tinian Solar pathway line. As far as the children's part, that's a fairly newly approved award. Um, we did touch up on a little bit of the procurement process. However, when we flew to Chilean, we did conduct meetings, and there was, how do you say, a change of avenue of how they would like to, extend the fund, because I wanted to make sure that we empower our, basically give Tinian, um, our team from Tinian to the opportunity to how they would like to go about, whether they would like to contract service or procure the items for the children's park, or it's basically up to how they. Now, from my recollection, I remember that there was a lot of events going on that kind of, such as the Pika Fest and other programs that they had going on. So it kind of, I guess, delayed the process in a sense. However, we're still trying to get on track and try to work together, because I know that they have a lot on their plate too, and they have other projects and you know uh, programs that they do facilitate. um, you know, on other times. So yeah, that's pretty much the status for the two projects. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Can we have this project expedite a little bit? Because I think the funding that been awarded, they share with us, long time ago, and I see that this project is not moving. So please, communicate with Kenyan, your representative down there, because the two Grand Rider, Mr. Kiosi and Mrs. Six, been trying to communicate with your office, and seems like this project is not moving forward. So please, I'm asking you guys to work with Kenyan so that this project move forward. Thank you.
Yes, I just want to mention that we are trying our best. I mean, we do have a lot on our plate, and we will continue moving the projects forward. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Chairman Cruz. Just to recap, Mr. Cabrera and Mr. Sanchez and Mr. Angel, obviously, we flushed out a lot. We flushed out a lot of the concerns being raised, and we appreciate the response. Some of them, you said you're going to come back to the committee on some of the actions that we request. I would like to find out from you what is a good time for you to respond to those pointed questions with regards to the SOPs and like, for example, I'm going to get to it. Some of the permissions from 820, as you indicated, we would like to see where you're at with that. What's the time frame you said last?
Monday's Friday, sir.
Okay, on item C, under the grant process and procedures, I believe it's more on what Mr. Angel was just alluding to earlier, notwithstanding what particular agency or municipality, but is there a actual grant process and procedure? Will you give these guys the grant applicant, or is it just how does it? How do you guys formulate? Okay, Jude, this is your opportunity to grant for a grant. This is what you do, or you just let us. Just for information.
On how grant proposals kind of come about, grant ideas.
Yeah, how do you manage, or how do you say this, guide the agency?
So what happens when granting season comes about, or a NOFO, a notice of funding opportunity, comes about? We as a team kind of get together and just brainstorm. So we brainstorm. While that's happening, the funding opportunity notices we shared with the agencies.
Okay.
So then in-house, we have our own little, I guess, we
Think tank?
yes, a think tank, so to speak. So we jot down all the possible projects that are associated with this particular grant funding, and then you kind of sift through, right? You sift through which is feasible, which isn't, and from that you generate if you have a list of say 20, you narrow it down to half, and then from there we think, okay, what are the associated agencies that tie in to these projects? And then we make the contact. We say, hey, projects. And then we make the contact. We say, hey, this is available. This funding opportunity is available. Do you have any ideas? And so that communication, it has started. Now they have our ideas. If they have ideas, we pitch it, and then we see. They share their ideas, we share ours. Which do you want to pursue more? Like that, or both, or and then it's the writing starts from there.
So from A to Z, Jay, constempo, tinaka.
Typically, like for example, a technical assistance grant for a TAP, 2 weeks 2-3 weeks, we can put a sound proposal together. But I should clarify that the 2 to 3 weeks is just when we've decided already what to pursue. Like that's just the grant, the writing, the writing process. But the no votes would usually come like a couple of months ahead. So then you have time to generate all these ideas. Yes.
So we have the down pad in your office, no? Basically,
Yes.
as far as the
Yes.
writing. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. If possible, include that in your response. Now, has there been an occurrence in your capacity that you go off and just communicate directly with persons or individuals, and without any knowledge by the expenditure authority or the head of that department, and you grant a help? At any given time during your 5 years or 6 years in your tenureship, I'm the director, I'm the secretary, Senator Vini is my staff. Have you ever gone directly to him and assisted him without my knowledge?
In terms from a director for
Yeah, I
every,
write a letter of support to him. Kung wala masusedi, hindi daw umupo sa to sa mga empleyado. Wala masusedi. You understand what I'm saying or no?
yes,
No?
not to my
You sure?
knowledge. If you would like to enlighten me, maybe.
No, I'm not going to
Oh.
enlighten you. I'm just asking. I'm just asking because this is, remember, we're having
Yes, sir.
a meeting here. And it's very important that we answer the question to the best of our ability. I'm not accusing you of
Yes.
anything. I'm just asking.
Sir, not to my
Okay,
recollection.
thank you. Final answer.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Now, going back to the statute under item D, I'm sorry, on the reporting to the legislature, can you go to the law? You know the law?
Yes, 99.
Can you go to section 9 on the reporting?
Sir, I don't
Maybe,
have my laptop,
Sarge,
but,
vamos lo pa-
sir, I don't
maybe,
have my laptop,
Sarge,
but,
vamos lo pa- and I want you to go on record and read this. Sarge. Mr. Cabrera, because this is a platform that we have, I need this read by you.
yes.
And
Section 9.
yes, please.
Section 9, reporting. A detailed comprehensive report of government and non-governmental grant awards associated with this act shall be. Section 9, reporting. A detailed comprehensive report of government and non-governmental grant awards associated with this act shall be reported to the presiding officers of the legislature by the Administrator of Grants Management or his or her designee at the end of each fiscal year. Provided further that the providing officers of the legislature shall provide and present to the full body of their respective houses.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you
Yes,
respond?
sir. I would like to apologize. The only we've tried to submit, or we've submitted is the CCRs, the Citizen Central Report. We did submit some reports to the executive branch. However, that's still my shortcomings for not directly providing those
Don't
reports.
mention the executive branch, I'm only
Okay.
asking the.
Yes, to the legislature, and I apologize for that. I will make a conscious effort to make sure that we provide a comprehensive report. I will make a conscious effort to make sure that we provide a comprehensive report here on.
Thank you.
And,
Mr. Cabrera, the reason why I asked you to read all that, because again, it's solely to help you and to help me and to help the administration,
Yes.
to help everybody else. And I'm not trying you and to help me and to help the administration,
Yes.
to help everybody else. And I'm not trying to what do you say, finagle or whatever, but whatever proper term, but it's important to allow the legislature to know the very voluminous and very hard work that you and your staff are putting through. It's the only way for us to help each other. Like say, for example, when we say that you need additional manpower, how can we know if we don't see this, no? And we appreciate that you're doing all you can. And I continue to come up with, I really appreciate this. And I'm sure everybody else appreciates this. This is outstanding. But there's other elements that requires your office, especially you, to provide the legislature with that information, because here we are over the last 5 years, and I know you know this, when our main source of industry shut down because of whatever pandemic, no, and the typhoon, we sometimes we furlough our employees because there's not enough general fund. But then maybe we have some funds that can supply some of that, so we don't let them go. But again, now, but I know it's more difficult, more process than not. But I couldn't overemphasize the need for your office to provide reporting. It's coming up again, and I appreciate that your honesty, and that's all we need, is so that we can understand. If there's anything in that context of that provision you need us to improve, please recommend.
Yes, sir.
That's all we ask. Please recommend.
Yes, sir.
That's all we ask. Sometimes, look, I'm very fortunate. I don't know, President Oko, when he was asked by some members, what are these? And he's not sure because he didn't get the information. So hear us out, and so we can narrow this gap. So I'm going to yield on my line of questioning. I think we flushed out, and I do need to. I'm expecting your reports.
Yes.
And also call us anytime.
Yes, sir.
Call us anytime. Chairman, go ahead.
Thank you. This is the issue that probably Senator Chairman Cruz is willing to delay, no? And now I just affirm or ascertain my concern about these delays of project. And there's a lot of multitasking in your employees, in your staff, that cannot really focus on one issue to complete it before doing another. And that really tells me now that you need more than ever additional staff to avoid multitasking on any specific project. And once a project is started, we need to continue to follow that up without any breakthrough of communication. And that's why probably it's causing concern both to the agency and to the possible grant to be received because of their multitasking, with your employees. And maybe so to you, Mr. Cabrera. Maybe so. You have a lot of things in your head that sometimes you not forget, but you just put that aside because of another important thing coming up, but if you have the necessary manpower that can focus on a specific project without multitasking your present staff to do this and that at the same time, maybe we can see service this concern. And like I said, if the legislature are needed to make amendments or do something else to assist you in that, then we are more than willing to come forward and see the expedition of all this. The longer we wait, and the more also from the grantor that we're not really up to par with what we're trying to accomplish. We just want to apply this without really executing the necessary project to move forward. So let's avoid the multitasking if we can. And how do we answer that? At your office call. So maybe that's why Senator Cruz is really concerned about the status of every project, and Mr. Angel just affirmed that from his statement, that there are a lot, that his job also is a multitask. And that's why, we can see this. Not that we disregard the project, but we experience delay because of other urgency that comes up on what he's doing. So only that, I just want to make sure that we go forward with looking for more personnel in your office that understand, the conflict of providing this grant assistance. Okay. So that's all, Mr. Chairman. I just want to make sure that maybe that's why all these concerns are coming up, because of the multitask of each of your staff. And that's even a burden for them to, and then they get, and that's even a burden for them to, and then they get, people to blame them for not doing their job. Well, yes, they're doing it, but it's just a timetable that is not meeting what the expectation of the recipients. Thank you, Mr.
This is one Chairman Hoko and Mr. Cabrera. Before I end my turn here, I want to commend you and your office for a good citizens entry report. And I wanted to recognize that you did comply with the statute so far, all the way to the at 35% of what you started at 40 and 39, 38, 37, 36, and it represents the actual dollars that you retain for your operations. I will not ask further on this because we're not in the finals yet, but I encourage you to continue with this report because this is very good information, and then some that we've been asking earlier. I encourage you to continue with this report because this is very good information, and then some that we've been asking earlier, the line of questioning earlier. Any other members before I call for a break? Being none, on behalf of the special committee, I would like to thank you for your participation and for your response this morning to the line of questions that we asked, reference to the structure of Public Law 1949. I appreciate the honesty and the being forthright that the challenges is not malicious, but stand ready to work with you with regards to those items before us. And I'm expecting some response to you in writing in the next few days. I want to thank you this morning, as indicated, but thank also the others, members of the legislature that are present in the gallery, and the staff for their participation this morning. The legislature that are present in the gallery, and the staff for their participation this morning, the OB staff for their assistance. And if there's anything that you missed this morning, I encourage you to reach out to the offices or to my office by email or call me. Indicate that you may miss this, and we'll address it accordingly. So with that, this morning sessions on recess until 1:30, and you are excused for the rest of the day, Mr. Cabrera. Thank you.